Hi, I'm Dave, and I help businesses to use technology more effectively. And today I want to talk about the power cuts in Spain on Monday. I'm in Spain at the moment, and it was quite a problem. We had no power, no mobile signal, no water. So what I want to talk about today is, well, first of all, the kind of emotional impact that has, but also the impact that could have in your business potentially and what you can do about it. We're not really going to speculate too much because we don't know what the exact root cause is, but we've got some ideas. So we'll talk about those briefly. So first of all, I think I felt that there was a sense of kind of calm, apart from my dog was going a bit crazy, wondering what was going on, but not having constant interruptions, constant doom scrolling on technology gave us a bit of headspace, and I think that's quite valuable. So I was looking at a video from Jasmine Harmon because she's also in Spain, and she was saying that she spent time with the family, and yeah, we went and sat by the pool and I kind of chilled out a bit and yeah, a bit of family time. But very frustrating because we lost 2 days. My wife and I lost a day's work. Just trying to work online can't be done if you've got no internet. So let's talk briefly about this cascading failure because I think it's quite important from a risk analysis point of view. And then we'll talk about what you can do about it. So we don't know what the root cause is yet. I'm sure we're going to find out, but certainly there's kind of the theory of a ransomware attack. That's quite a dangerous theory to explore. Uh, Obviously, if there was a nation state that caused this, that's a significant uh, escalation. So the Spanish government are not going to say anything until they're 100% certain, and even then, they probably won't. People have speculated it's because of the problems with solar power. Now, in case you're not aware, in order to transition to green energy, we are basically doing the Industrial Revolution in a quarter of the time. So the Industrial Revolution was about 100 years. We're transitioning from traditional coal and oil and gas to green energy over the course of maybe 20, 25 years. There's a significant investment and a significant change in technology. And what it also means is we're increasing the complexity or entropy of the system. So when you increase complexity, and if you learn nothing else from this video, when you increase complexity, you massively increase the risk of things going wrong in unexpected ways. Okay. And that does not mean that using solar is causing these uh, outages. That's nonsense. It's clearly not true because actually that adds extra resilience. Anyway, the point is that when you add complexity, you need to strip that back by redesigning the system. And huge amounts of investments need to be made in redesigning the grid because you're not distributing power from individual points, but you're doing it from lots of places. So the fact that 60% of the electricity randomly disappeared meant that the system had no choice but to shut down. So what you get with cascading failures, and we've seen this in IT, I've seen it where networks fail, and it's very difficult sometimes to get these things back up and running again because if you bring some of it back up, then it just goes back down again because it gets overloaded. So it takes time to get these things back up and working again, which is why it took around 10 hours in total. Now, when you're planning and designing these systems, there are ways of mitigating that risk. So a good example of that is packet networks on the internet, TCP/IP on your local network. You can take the most terrible bit of connectivity, terrible bit of wiring, and it will still work. And it can route different paths. But what that means is you've got to be very careful you don't generate loops. And there's technologies like spanning tree protocol try and stop that happening. Because if you create too many redundant loops, the system can crash because you're adding complexity it can't manage. And that's probably whether it's because multiple things failed at the same time, or whether it was because of a ransomware attack. We don't know, but multiple things failing simultaneously or multiple things adding complexity in real time are what causes systems to break. So the thing I want you to think about when you designing systems in your business, how can you reduce the complexity? How can you make it so things can't independently all make the same decision at once? And AI is going to be really good at making these kind of decisions that break stuff because it can make the same decision multiple times but come to the same conclusions. So you need some kind of randomization. And it's quite interesting when you're designing systems trying to make them more reliable, the best way of doing that is to add randomness in terms of how quickly things happen. So, for example, if you wanted to turn on 1,000 computers, don't turn them all on at once, turn them all on over the next 10 minutes. It will cause a lot less problems. If you turn them all on at once, the breakers will trip. And obviously, the problem we have with the power is because it's AC, if the frequency is too high or too low, you've got to kill it. If you've got too much or too little voltage or amperage, you've got to kill it. So these systems are designed to not blow everything up, which would be vastly worse. So I think all in all, my conclusion is these kind of things are going to happen again because we're adding complexity. We need to stop making things do things for the sake of it. So, for example, if you have solar panels, there's no reason why these can't operate independently. Yeah. You don't need like you don't necessarily need it to feed power into the grid, but it mustn't feed power into the grid if the power is off. Now, in your business, what steps can you take to mitigate these kinds of risks? Well, it's very unusual to have a day without power, but we can put systems in places like UPSs. People got stuck in lifts because the UPS backup wasn't being maintained properly. So maintaining systems reduces the impact of serious incidents. Having good backups, la la la, you know all this stuff, but planning for this kind of stuff because you don't know. This is the thing about the black swan events or the unknown unknown, as Bronsfeld said, that we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but we can definitely predict that the electricity in the next 10 years is going to go off for a day. So you can plan for that. That's why the EU said plan for 72 hours of food, water, etc. Actually, having a radio was really helpful because I could turn the radio on and listen to what was going on because we had no idea what was happening, but we had no water, no electric, no internet. So things like that cost very little money to have a radio, a flashlight. Again, if a modern flashlight will last for a day because it's got LEDs in it, water, food, have all those stuff prepared, and then you're ready. And it was not doom and gloom craziness. You're probably never going to use it, but by having this stuff ready, if there is a serious incident, you've got stuff planned. And that's part of my job is to kind of try and predict these unknown unknowns. And I don't know what's going to happen. So another example I'm working on at the moment is like we saw with CrowdStrike. What if we need to rebuild every computer we manage? Now, as I said, I'm in Spain at the moment. How am I going to rebuild 2,000 computers in another country? I'm not even there. So I'm testing some technology at the moment, which will enable users to rebuild the computer themselves and put them back to a working state. It's very early days, but I think it will work. And that gives us a solution to the problem. And it's worth investing the time now because when we do need to deploy that solution, everything will be ready. We've got it all organized. So all I'm saying is with your disaster planning, both personally and in your business, think about the kind of things that you might need to do if there's a major incident, because we don't know. That's why the zombie apocalypse planning is so useful, because if we plan for a zombie apocalypse, that will cater for a lot of the things that might actually happen in real life. So I hope that's useful. Please have a think about what you're going to do if the electricity and phones and water stop working for a day. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. And let's hope that it wasn't a ransomware incident because that's going to cause big problems.